Hey guys, apparently I can't figure out how to go live on my phone, unfortunately. And I wanted to use my mic, so that's not working out, so it's okay. Hopefully you can hear me because I can't communicate with you guys. I'm just trying out this live stream here on YouTube to see how I like it and how you guys like it. But we'll go ahead and get started and just work with what we have. So if you're going to join me today for some live yoga, go ahead and grab your mat and 2 blocks. You may or may not need them, and a blanket if you like padding for your knees. And I'll play around more with the phone next time. I just get a better picture on my phone, so I was trying to use that, but you know, the Technoduca. All right, so here we go. Hopefully you can see me okay from here. It's a little cold, so I'm in the house today, not in the garage. All right, so come onto your mat, and we're actually going to start on our backs. But if you have a blanket, go ahead and unfold it a couple times, and then you want to make kind of like a long, skinny blanket for your spine. So that's going to go just along your spine. And then we'll take that all the way up to our lower back. Take your soles of the feet to touch and your knees out wide. And we'll lie back on that blanket. You take your arms out to the side or cross opposite elbows overhead. And start to notice your breath while we open up our hips. Start to lengthen the breath. So try to inhale into your belly, filling the belly up with air, then the ribs, and then the upper chest. Exhale, upper chest, ribs, belly. Keep moving with your breath like your breath is a wave. Breathing into the belly, ribs, upper chest. Exhale, upper chest, ribs, belly. Keep moving the body. And as you're breathing here, I'm just going to read you a little quote out of this book that I love called Sunrise Gratitude. It says, "Take some time today to move your body." That's what we're doing. Our bodies are a gift, and it is important to take care of them. We can choose to move in so many ways. Find what works best for you and spend the time to give your body some love and movement. Your mind will thank you by becoming clearer too. It is easy to stay put, but movement makes the day feel richer. Our bodies feel stronger and our minds more aware. How will you move today? Well, you're going to see right now. All right, so deep breath in. One more deep breath out. And close your knees like a book. Walk your feet mat distance apart and just windshield wiper your knees side to side. And then roll off of that blanket. Take that blanket out to the side. And then take your arms out wide like the letter T. We're going to warm up our core here and really focus on pressing the shoulders down into the mat. And bring the knees up toward the chest. You keep the feet together if you want, but try to flex the feet, so activate the legs here. And we're going to press the low back into the mat and kind of curl our tailbone up to the sky. You're going to do that, and then keeping the core nice and tight, you're going to bring the knees over to the left elbow. They may not touch. You may only get halfway like me, and that's okay. Then you're going to come back to center. Using your core, don't let your body just collapse on that twist here. And then send them over to the right elbow, still pushing down in that left elbow or the left shoulder. And then come back to center. Other side, slow and controlled. Now add the breath. So exhale when the knees come toward the elbow. Inhale when they come back to center. Exhale, knees to the opposite elbow. Inhale back to center. Use that inhale to help move the body. All right, finish the round you're on. And come back to center. And straighten the legs, heels to the sky for waterfall. Here, point the toes, flex the feet, point, flex. And coming back into that butterfly, that supine butterfly that we started with. Soles of the feet together, knees out wide. Don't get too comfortable here. Press the low back down so that all the vertebrae on your back are touching the mat, except your cervical spine won't be touching the mat, the top of the neck. So from here, you're pressing the low back down, squeeze your glutes, push down through the outside edges of your feet, and lift the hips for a butterfly bridge. You don't have to lift up high. Just activate the back body. So squeezing the back body, squeeze the glutes, press down through the shoulders, lift the hips, and lower down slowly. Stay here, take a big breath in. Big breath out. Press down through the lower back and squeeze the hips up to the sky. Pressing down through the shoulders. Stay here and breathe for 3 breaths. Breathe in. Exhale. Inhale, keep squeezing. Exhale. One more, you can do it. And lower down on your exhale slowly. Walk the feet mat distance apart. Let the knees cave in and windshield wiper the knees side to side. So if you've been coming to my classes, the last month we worked a lot on arm strength, arm strengthening. So we're going to continue with that this month. I'll be teaching relatively the same sequence, and then the last sequence of the month will be a full yin practice. So here, let's take reclined child's pose, holding the knees in toward the chest, toes touching. You can take a little rock side to side if you like. Warming up the hips. We're going to be doing a lot of hip work. Then reach through your legs, grab the outsides of your feet or your ankles, and take another butterfly here, pushing the knees away from you and pulling the feet toward you. Big breath in. And let it go. You take a happy baby, heels to the sky, knees out wide. Straighten one leg, bend the other. Don't force anything, just warm it up here. And then come back into that reclined child's pose with the toes touching and the knees wide. This time we're going to take our hands, the palms face up like we're holding the ceiling from falling on our head. And then we're going to use our core and try to tap our elbows. The arms are going inside of the knees. We're going to try to tap the knees to the armpits. And then come back, tap the toes on the ground. And exhale, bring the knees to the side of the armpits. Then come back, tap, come back up, squeeze, inhale down, exhale, squeeze in. Can you tell what our peak pose is going to be? It's an arm balance. Warming up that core. The closer you can get your knees in toward your armpits, the easier that pose is going to be for you. All right, let's finish this one up. And then our last time when we come in with the knees, we're going to hold it there for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Curl the tailbone up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Big breath in. Let it go. Hug the knees into the chest and rock front to back. Massaging your spine on the mat. And then come up to a seated position. We're going to take a little twist. So bend the left heel toward the right glute and cross that right foot over that left thigh. And then you're going to hug that right knee in toward the chest with your left arm. Sit up tall and twist. So the right arm goes behind you and you're gazing over the back shoulder. Hug that knee in and try to drive your hip bones, your sit bones down toward the earth. Inhale. Exhale, twist. And come back to center, and we're just going to come into square pose. So that same leg's on top, right leg on top of the left knee, and the left foot is underneath the right knee. If this isn't happening today, you can just cross that right shin in front of the left shin. Okay, then inhale, rise up with your arms. Exhale, fold forward. Enjoy this outer hip stretch, especially after those butterfly bridges. Play around with moving your hands over to one side, flopping over one foot and one knee. Notice how that feels, and then move over to the other knee and the other foot. Notice how that feels. And then decide where you want to be. We'll be here for a few more breaths. And come up. You rest back on your hands, and we're just going to switch the cross of our legs. So that right heel comes toward the left glute. The left knee is pointing up to the sky, and we're going to hug that left knee in with our right arm and twist toward that leg. The left arm goes behind us, and see if you can sit up tall and look behind that left shoulder. Add your breath in here, deep breath in. Exhale, hug the belly in and twist a little further. Press both sit bones to the mat. And come back for that square pose or double pigeon on the other side. So left foot goes on top of the right thigh, right foot underneath the left knee, or you can just cross that left shin in front of the right. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Stay here for a few breaths. And play around with arms going over to one side and lowering down. And take your arms over to the opposite side and lower down. And come back to center. Take a deep breath in. Exhale and rise up. Good. Come to hands and knees, tabletop. If you have tender knees, you can throw a blanket under your knees here. We're just going to take some cat-cows, warming up the spine a little bit more. So inhale, drop the belly, lift the chin, open the heart. Exhale, round the spine. Tuck the chin to the chest, tuck the tailbone. Inhale for cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Keep moving with your body, your breath. So take any other movement that feels good, maybe barrel rolls or swaying the hips or hip circles. Once you feel even front to back, side to side, come back to tabletop and tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back for downward facing dog. And really you can bend your knees here and lift the hips up and back, almost like you're tractioning your spine away from the floor. You're just kind of pulling it apart from the back. And then take your chin toward your chest, looking at your belly button. Spiral the elbow pits forward. Deep breath in. Let it go. Pedal the feet if you like. Whatever feels nice here. And bend the knees, look forward, and we're going to tiptoe up to our hands to the top of our mat. If you want to hold on to a block, if you don't feel like going all the way down today, you can. And let the head hang, shake your head yes and no. You can bend one leg, straighten the other, and switch to the other side. Breathe in, halfway lift, squeeze the glutes and flatten the back. Exhale, fold. Root down through your heels, squeeze the glutes and rise all the way up. This is where I need a cameraman. All right, so up to the sky, and then take your hands together and bring them down behind your back. Interlace the fingers and pull the knuckles to the earth, taking a standing little back bend here, opening the chest up. You can look up. And then hinge at the hips, folding forward. You can rest your hands on your back or let them fall over your head. Let the head hang. You can try straightening one leg, bending the other again. If you need more sensation, you can try pressing the palms together. And release. Rise up. Arms come together. And then hands at heart center. Step back with the left foot. Coming into a low crescent lunge. So really press down with that right foot and the right knee. And lower down nice and controlled and careful. Inhale, rise up with the arms. Exhale, cactus the arms, opening the heart. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. And cartwheel the hands down. Surrounding that right foot, you're going to tuck the back toes, lift the back leg, and slide that right foot back to meet the left, and then into a three-legged dog. Open and stack the hips, bend the knee, take the right heel toward that left glute, and take some knee circles. So almost like if you had paint on your knee, you're drawing little circles in the air with it, and then reverse the circles. You can also do this on your hands and knees if you'd like. Then re-straighten the legs, square the hips, and bring that right foot down, drop the knees down, take a cat-cow. Then stretch the legs out behind you, coming onto the toes for a plank. You can also stay on the knees here. Just make sure the knees are behind the hips. All right, hug everything in. Cinch your waist in like a drawstring on your pants. Round the upper back slightly. Elbows go back for a yogi push-up. So we're going to lower down. You can drop to your knees if you want, and then push back up. And exhale into downward facing dog. Take a few breaths. Now we're going to do several down dogs today. So if you need to drop down to your forearms and your knees and take puppy pose, that's fine. You can do that every time I say down dog if you want. Just listen to your body. All right, bend the knees, look forward, tiptoe or baby hop, little baby hops up to your hands into a forward fold. Bend one leg, one knee, straighten the other leg. And the other side. Root to rise, squeeze the glutes and push out with your abdominal wall. So push out with your belly as you rise up. Palms come together, then to your heart center. Clasp the hands behind your back. Pull the knuckles down, open the chest, and look up. Deep breath in. Exhale. Walk the feet about hip distance apart and fold forward again, keeping the hands clasped behind your back if you're able to. Let those arms fall forward, let the head hang. Bend one leg, straighten the other. Switch to the other side. Release the hands, root to rise, pushing out with your belly as you rise up to protect your spine. Shake it out. Hands together at heart center, and this time step back with the right foot. Low crescent lunge. Inhale, arms up. Press the hips forward and down. Exhale, cactus the arms. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale, rise up. Cartwheel the hands down. Tuck the back toes. Lift the back leg. Slide that left foot back to meet the right, and then into three-legged dog. Open and stack that hip. Bend the knee. Take some knee circles. So warming up the hips. Reverse the circles. They don't have to be big circles. They could be little tiny circles. And re-straighten the legs. Square the hips. Bring that left foot down. Drop down to your knees if you're not already there. Cat, cow. And come back to a neutral spine and stretch the legs out for plank pose, or you can stay on the knees. Really tighten up the core here. Breathe. Smile. It makes it better, right? That's what they say. All right, elbows back, lower down for a yogi push-up. You can always drop to your knees and push back up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take 3 rounds of breath here. And drop down to your knees. You may want to use these blocks, maybe not. So place your blocks on your mat. The same direction as your body, lengthwise on the mat. And you're going to place your hands on those blocks where you would have them for down dog, or maybe it's slightly closer in because they're a little bit wide. And you can wrap your thumbs and pinkies on the side edges of those blocks. If you don't have blocks, you can do this without blocks. But this is just a little something. If you do have blocks, you want to try it. So tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back. Now you're in down dog, kind of a narrower down dog if you're using blocks. Bend the knees, look forward. You can take those baby hops up to your hands, or maybe try lifting the hips a little higher, coming up to the top edge of your mat and fold forward. Let's move those blocks to the side for a moment. Walk the feet in. Root to rise, squeeze the glutes, push the belly out and rise up. Palms together overhead, bring them to heart center, then clasp the hands behind your back. Pull the knuckles down, open the chest again. Breathe in. Breathe out, walk the feet about hip distance and fold forward again. Bend one knee, straighten the other leg. Then switch. Come back to center. Squeeze your glutes and rise up, pushing your belly out, keeping your hands clasped behind your back. See if you can keep them clasped there. If not, you can grab opposite elbows. That'll still help open the chest. And we're going to step back with the left foot again. Lowering down, slow and controlled. Pressing down through that front foot. Lowering down. Anjaneyasana, low crescent lunge here. Press the hips forward and down. Pull open the chest. Look up if you can. Big breath in. Let it go. Release your hands, interlace your fingers, palms face up and lean over to the right. Now we're getting into that psoas. Feels so good. I love this stretch. Hope you do too. And come back to center. Cartwheel the hands down. This time walk the right foot out to the edge of the mat, setting up for dragon pose. So again, if you have tender knees, throw that blanket under the back knee. We'll be here in this pose for 10 breaths. If you want to take inside dragon, you can walk the foot out to the side, hold onto a block or two, or you can just rest down on a mat, or you can walk your elbows down to the block. It's up to you. Breathing here into the hips. The goal is just to try to get the hips a little bit closer to the ground, opening up a little bit more. Use your breath to help you get there, sending it directly to any spots that feel tight. If this hurts your wrists at all, you can make fists and put your knuckles on the ground, and usually that takes care of it. If you'd like to wing that right knee out to the right a little bit and come up onto the outer edge of that right foot, you can give that a try. Just listen to your body. And bring that right knee back in if you winged it out. We're just going to straighten the right leg a little bit, sending the hips back toward the back heel. Just a little counter stretch, pulling the right toes up, fold forward. And then take the hands down to the mat. Walk that right foot back to meet the left and tuck the toes. Lift the hips up for down dog. And lift that right leg to the sky again. Open and stack the hips. Take the knee circles. Reverse the circles. And then re-square the hips. Bring that right foot down. Drop down to the knees. Cat-cow. This time we're going to widen the knees and take a wide knee child's pose. So reach your hands forward. Rest the forehead down to the mat. And come back up. Draw the knees back in underneath the hips somewhat. You can take a sway side to side with your hips. And then adjust your blocks. If you want to use them to practice jumping to the top of the mat, you can place those blocks for underneath your hands for down dog. I'd recommend moving that blanket out to the side if you're using one, and then from here, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, and coming into down dog. Bend the knees, look forward, take baby hops, or maybe try big hops coming up to the blocks, lifting the hips over the shoulders as much as you can to get up to the top of the mat. Fold forward when you get there. Move the blocks off your mat if you'd like. Heel toe the feet in about hip distance. Root to rise. Squeeze the glutes, push the belly out, arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands behind your back, clasp your fingers together, pull the knuckles down, open the chest, look up if you can. Another forward fold like this. Last one, folding forward, hinging at the hips. You can always just keep your back straight and fold halfway if it bothers your back. Bend one knee, straighten the other leg. Then switch. And rise up, keeping your hands clasped or opposite elbows clasped. We're going to step back with the right foot this time. Lowering down, slow and controlled, pressing down into that front foot, dropping the right knee down, Anjaneyasana. Open the chest, look up if you can, pushing the hips forward and down. And release your hands, interlace the fingers in front of you, then pull the palms up to the sky, lean over to the left. Still pressing forward. Enjoy that stretch on the right. And come back to center. Cartwheel the hands down, throw that blanket under the back knee if you need it, and walk that left foot out for dragon or lizard pose. So grab your blocks if you want to use them. We are going to be doing a little wrist stretch here. So if you can, we'll do one hand at a time. If you're using blocks, you can use the blocks too. We're going to take the back of the right hand on the mat, fingertips pointing toward you, trying to stretch into the top part of that wrist. Turn the elbow pit toward the top edge of the mat to really get a nice deep stretch in here. Breathe. Still pressing down with your hips. Then flip the palm face down, fingertips pointing toward you, straightening that arm as much as you can. Now stretching the inside of that wrist. You can shake that hand out and go to the next hand. You can wing that left knee out to the left as well if you did that on the other side. So back of the hand on the block or the ground, fingertips pointing toward you. Turn that elbow pit toward the top edge of your mat and breathe. And flip the hand, palm face down, fingertips pointing toward you, straightening that arm. Then flip that hand. Bring that left knee back in if you winged it out. Take the blocks off the mat. And then we'll slide that left foot back into tabletop. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, down dog. Lift the left leg to the sky, three-legged dog. Open and stack the hips. Bend the knee, heel toward the glute. Take some knee circles. Your hips should be pretty open by now, but we're going to do one more thing before our peak pose. Bring that foot down, drop down to your hands and knees. Take one round of cat-cow. Take a child's pose, wide kneed, knees wide, toes touching approximately. They may not touch. Rest the forehead down, stretch the hands out in front, You can rest it down onto the mat or to a block. And press up to tabletop, hands and knees. Take that blanket out from under you if you have one. You need to shake out the wrists one more time, you can. And then we'll meet in downward facing dog, or you can always take puppy. Actually drop down to your knees if you want to use the blocks. Get your blocks ready under your hands to practice jumping. Like I said, you can do this without using blocks. You can just place your hands on the mat. And then when you're ready, bend the knees, look forward, baby hops or big hops up to the top of your mat, trying to get the hips up into a forward fold here. Now take your feet wide, yogi squat wide, so toes out, heels in, and then drop the hips down for yogi squat. If you want to use a block to sit on, just place that block back behind you and lower the hips down. Take the hands together at heart center. If your wrists are bothering you by this point, you can take fists and take your knuckles together, pressing the knees out with your elbows if you can. Thread the chest through. You can close your eyes here if you'd like. We'll be here for a good 10 breaths, breathing into the hips. If your heels are popping up, try to take your feet a little wider. Sometimes that helps. I will be leaving a link on this video to a playlist that you can play in the background that I created on iTunes if you'd like. I haven't done that yet. I made the playlist, but I haven't put the link on, but I will right after this. Okay, we've got about 4 more breaths here. Also, look out for a 30-day challenge coming up in March. It's going to be 15 minutes of yin yoga every day for 30 minutes, and then notice how you feel after that. So it's going to be coming up in March. I tried to get it done in February, but it's just a busy month. So look for that March 1st. Hope that you join me. All right, plant the hands down out in front of you. Lift the hips, fold forward, shake it out. And walk the feet underneath the hips, about hip distance apart. You can keep a block out in front if you want it for balance. And we're going to slide that left foot up to the sky, balancing on the right. You can just tent your fingers on the ground if you don't want to use a block. Keep the toes pointing down, so squaring the hips. Really use your glutes to lift that leg. Now we're going to try to come into Warrior 3. So coming off of that block or the ground, lifting, strengthening your back here. Palms together. You can reach the hands out in front if you like. It's really hard to do on a squishy mat or a squishy rug. All right, then we're going to bring that left knee forward, flexing the foot. Now we're just kind of standing here with our knee out in front. Let's take tree pose. Knee goes out to the side. The toes can stay on the ground, or you can lift the foot, pressing into the calf or the thigh. Really squeeze that right glute and press the hips forward slightly. Lift the chest. Breathe. You can stay here, or if you want to try taking that, reach down with the right hand and grab the left toes, placing that foot on top of that right thigh and pulling that left knee down. Really hard to do in slippery pants. If you have shorts on, it's really a lot easier. Really pressing that foot in. And then you can bend that right knee and come into a yogi, like a little figure 4 here. Flexing the foot, press that knee down. A little one-legged squat here. And then rise up, shake it out. All right, let's do the other side. So fold forward. Use your block if you want. Slide that right leg behind you and up, preparing for warrior 3. Flex that glute, lift the chest. Coming into warrior 3, you can straighten the arms out in front or just hold on to your block. Notice where you are today and see if you improve over the month. And we're going to bring that right knee forward as we rise up. Hands together at heart center, balancing on that left foot. Flex the right foot. Then take a tree pose. Right knee goes out to the right. Squeeze the left foot, the left glute I meant. Pressing that left hip forward. This is what's fun about live videos. I don't get to edit them. All right, lift the chest, breathe. Stay here or try to grab the right foot and place it on top of the left thigh. You can even hold it here if you want. Or you can try to come into that one-legged figure 4 squat, flexing that foot, dropping the hips down, pressing that right knee toward the mat. And rise up, shake it up. Okay, from here, take your feet yogi squat stance. And you're welcome to just work on your yogi squat. So grab your block if you want to use that. Drop your hips down. Come into that yogi squat. Or if you want to hit the arm balance up, you should be warmed up for that. So hands come out in front of you, fan your fingers out. If you have 2 blocks and you want to try this with blocks, you can place 1 block out in front for your head on the tallest height and fan your fingers out. Lift the hips up. You can try climbing up onto a block. I recommend putting it on the skinniest mode. Climb up on there with your toes, knees wide, near your armpits, the outside of your armpits. You can just stay here, practicing shifting your weight into your hands. Please don't do more than you think you can do. I've had some people fall on their faces with this, and just take your time. It's okay if you fall. If you feel like you're going to fall, you can place your blanket out in front of your face. If you want to use that block out in front, you can come up onto your tippy toes and kind of rest your forehead on that block just to kind of give you a feel of what it's like to be on your hands. And you can slowly lift one set of toes and then the other. Okay, or you can just get rid of the blocks. If you're there, really inch your knees up toward the armpits. Shift forward, look ahead of your hands. Lift one set of toes, then the other. And you can just keep coming down and up and down and up. Just a little fun practice playtime. Also, if you want to practice shooting your feet back into a plank, the trick with that is also getting your glutes up to the sky. So lifting the hips up and then lifting the heels up, the feet up, so that you can shoot back. Lower down when you're ready. Inhale up for cobra, baby cobra, or up dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. And let's lower down to our knees. Take a child's pose. And this time, let's bring the knees together and rest our arms alongside the body. Rest the forehead down. Really start to slow your breath. I'd like to try for rabbit pose. Take the crown of your head, the very top of your head, onto the mat a little bit further out from your knees. Hold onto your heels nice and tight and lift the hips up toward the sky, rounding the back like we did in cat. If this hurts your neck at all, just come out and take child's pose. You should not be putting a ton of pressure on your head here, just barely touching it to the ground. And lower back down, child's pose. And come back up slowly. Take your knees apart about hip distance. Rise up to your knees. Take your hands to your low back, elbows pulled back, and press the hips forward. Opening the chest again. You can keep the chin to the chest, or if you want to let it hang back, you can. If you want to come into camel or half camel where you reach down for your heels, go for it. I'm not going to demonstrate that one, but if you're feeling it, go for it. Just make sure you're still pressing the hips forward as you fall back gently. And slowly come back up. Camel pose is actually a yin pose, but I don't really like doing it because it's not my favorite, and it's questionable on being yin, in my opinion. It's a little bit more yang, in my opinion. Anyway, let's rest down onto our mat, and we're going to take banana pose. So come down into bridge pose. Start with your knees bent. Dig your elbows into the mat, lift the hips up, and set them over to the right. And straighten the legs out to the back left corner of the mat. Try to get both glutes on the mat. And take both arms over to the left as well, coming into a crescent moon shape with your body. You can play around with stacking one foot on top of the other and grabbing the right wrist with your left hand, opening the chest to the sky. Relax down here. Enjoy this nice side body stretch. Play around with the head position as well, turning it to one side or the other. That's my dog. Really relax the body here. On your next inhale, come back to center, straighten out your body. You can take your feet to the mat, knees bent, lift the hips, and this time set them over to the left of your mat. Straighten the legs out to the back right corner. Try to get both glutes on the mat, and then take your upper body, your arms over to the right. Open the chest up to the sky. Play around with your foot position, or you can just leave them sitting next to each other. Again, relax the body here. And close the eyes if you like. Slowly bend the knees, take the feet to the mat. Straighten out the hips, straighten out the upper body, and prepare for Shavasana, final resting pose. Just fully relax the body. You can take this on your back or your belly. Any props you like or no props at all. If you want more of a grounding feeling, you can try taking your blanket to your abdomen and then fully let go. Take 3 long, slow breaths, allowing yourself to melt down with each breath. Start to notice your breath. Bring movement back into your body. Roll over to one side of your body. When you get there, inhale the biggest breath of the day. Open your mouth, let it go. And press up to a seated position. Sit up tall, bring the hands together at heart center, and bow your chin to your chest. Thank you guys so much for joining me on YouTube Live. This has been fun. Hope to see you next Tuesday at noon. And I'll add more yin next time, I promise. We'll still be working on that same peak pose, crow pose. Hope to see you next time. Namaste. Bye.